to this edition of ONTV News. I'm Jessi Agnew. Throughout the year, Orion Township hosts numerous family-friendly events, from Bunny Bop in the spring to Cookies with Claws in December. Recently, the township hosted one of its most popular events where kids found joy and excitement in things we adults take for granted. The township's Big Rig Gig was held at Friendship Park on Friday, August 2nd. Now in its 10th year, dozens of vehicles of all shapes and sizes were on display, and kids were encouraged to climb inside. Vehicles range from tow trucks and garbage trucks to police cruisers and fire trucks. The concept was originally proposed by program supervisor Jennifer Vesna, who was inspired by her own son's fascination with trucks.
What am I seeing? I am seeing a lot of families having a good time, and that, to me, is a huge success. Parents, kids, having fun, laughing, making memories that will take them into their adulthood. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, so I think it's great that as a township we can offer all kinds of different events for our residents. This is just one of many events that we do. We have Summer Sizzle, we have Barn Days that happens out here at Friendship Park as well as our concert series. Just a great way for people to plug in, unplug from the world, go out and do something with their neighbors. So we try to offer a lot of different programs, and like I said, Jennifer and Lisa over at Community Programs do an awesome job, finding great activities that people like. So.
The biggest rig at the gig was a semi-truck brought in by Hunt Farms in Davison, Michigan.
Yeah, because it was me when I was young. I really like the trucks, and they get a kick out of my front tires there with the spikes on them, and they like honking the horn and seeing everything shine, and the kids come up and put their face right in the wheels, so it's kind of neat seeing all the reaction on the kids' faces.
See that little rope?
Oh! Orion Township Fire Chief Bob Smith told us he enjoyed watching the kids explore the emergency vehicles that were on display.
We brought a regular fire engine, and we have a rescue squad here today for the kids to look at and climb on and just have a great time. The fire trucks, the kids are getting up in there, they're blowing the horns, as you probably can hear in the background. They're loving it. They get to see the hoses, and they're putting on the masks that we wear and the air packs and that. They're just getting to play with everything on the trucks. So.
The event was not only fun but educational as well. Oakland Township firefighter Corey Stroka brought the department's smokehouse that helps teach kids about fire safety.
The townships up here, the fire departments up here in northern Oakland County have things called mutual aid. And not everybody buys a smokehouse. Like Orion Township, which we're in right now, they can use the Oakland Township smokehouse. So this goes to many events around the community, and we try to get everybody through it. We'll put through probably about 1,000 people through this every year.
Although there was a $5 per carload entrance fee, township events like this one would be impossible without the sponsorship of area businesses like Waste Management.
I think it's mostly they really just love the big equipment, and we know in society these days that we're seeing a decline in licensed certified drivers. So anything we can do to help raise the next generation of kids who are going to want to perform service and drive these big rigs, it's important to do, and it's a really fun event. It's a great event.
The next major event hosted by Orion Township is Barn Days, scheduled to take place on Saturday, September 7th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Friendship Park. Enjoy hay rides, a petting farm, carnival games, inflatables, food, fun, and a whole lot more. The cost is $5 per carload. For more information, call 248-391-0304, extension 305, or visit oriontownship.org. Summer ended on Thursday, August 1st for local students who attend Carpenter Elementary School. The 2013-14 school year kicked off without a hitch as the 1st through 5th graders made their way to their new classrooms and greeted familiar faces in the hall. Kindergartners had their first day on Friday, August 2nd. Students who attend Carpenter Elementary School will have over a month of instruction under their belt before the rest of the school-age kids around Lake Orion head back to class. Parents of Carpenter students love the year-round format, and results don't lie. Carpenter Elementary yearly is ranked one of the top elementary schools in the entire state of Michigan. Any student in Orion Township is eligible to attend Carpenter, but selection into the school is done by a lottery of those who apply. The rest of the Lake Orion schools open for the new school year after the Labor Day holiday. For more information about Carpenter Elementary or any other Lake Orion school, visit the Lake Orion Schools website at www.lakeorion.k12.mi.us. Gowling GMC Buick hosted the Lake Orion's Police Cops for Kids Classic Car Show on Saturday, August 3rd. Classic car enthusiasts came out to see some famous Detroit muscle for a good cause. The Cops for Kids program helps underprivileged kids around the holiday season. The money raised at the car show and the all-you-could-eat pancake breakfast lets kids go shopping for toys and other items they might not have been able to afford around the holiday season. The selected shoppers get $150 to spend during their shopping spree. The event was sponsored by the Lake Orion Police Department and hosted by Gowling GMC Buick. The Red Cross RV was also on hand to take blood donation patrons. Classic cars from all around Oakland County were on hand to be judged and admired. Trophies were handed out to car owners in a variety of categories. Plus, Gowling even gave the classic cars a quick mechanical run-through if they had something wrong, all free of charge. For more information regarding the Cops for Kids program, contact the Lake Orion Police Department at 248-693-8321. We are going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you the highlights from Lone Ranger Days. You are watching ONTV News. Stay tuned.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, you know, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Welcome back to ONTV News. I'm Jessi Agnew. For the past few weeks, Lake Orion and Oxford have teamed up for Lone Ranger Days, a month-long celebration of the positive values of the Lone Ranger, coinciding with the release of the new Disney film starring Johnny Depp. The celebration continued on Saturday, July 27th, with the Orion Township Public Library holding a special screening of the 1950s Lone Ranger television series. The popular ABC TV series starred Clayton Moore as a Lone Ranger and Jay Silverheels as Tonto. It ran for 5 seasons from 1949 to 1957. Along with the screening, children were invited to decorate their very own Lone Ranger masks and take part in a horse demonstration where they were able to pet and feed a Tennessee walking horse, the same breed of the horse that portrayed Silver in the television series. Beth Sheridan, head of adult services at the Orion Township Library, shared with us why the Lone Ranger means so much to the community.
The whole Orion-Oxford community is celebrating Lone Ranger Days this summer because Brace Beamer, who was the radio voice of the Lone Ranger for a long time, lived in Oxford for a period of time. The whole reason of the celebration, from what I understand, is the Lone Ranger promoted values, family values, and they want to promote the same values. And it's kind of in conjunction with the movie that came out, too.
Lone Ranger Days culminated with a 2-day festival and parade in Oxford that drew people from all over Metro Detroit into the area. ONTV's Catherine Havrilla was in Oxford to cover all the festivities and even spoke with a couple of very special guests.
The community of Oxford gathered today to celebrate their most famous resident, Brace Beamer, the voice of the radio Lone Ranger. The event had many activities that encouraged visitors to celebrate the thrilling days of yesteryear. Hundreds of people came to downtown Oxford in memory of Brace Beamer. With a parade, a museum exhibit, as well as a business expo and craft fair, fun was in big supply for participants. Organizers were filled with good things to say about the event.
We've been working on this for a few months, and that is a very positive thing because many times you do an event like this, it takes over a year in planning. We literally put this together in about 4.5 months with a budget of about $3,000. And I think it was quite successful. I think both communities really enjoyed it today, and of course the good weather added a lot to it as well.
We're really happy to have the first annual, hopefully annual, Lone Ranger Parade. A big display at the museum I encourage everybody to look at. And then the rest is there's a business expo across the street for small businesses. And down here there's more businesses and shops and crafts. So it's a big, huge event and something to put on the calendar for next year.
One large part of the festival was the Lone Ranger exhibit displayed in the Northeast Oakland Historical Museum.
We're lucky to get a collection from a resident that had a huge collection of Lone Ranger material, and he loaned it to us, so we've got like 3 cabinets full of his collection, and we have one of our own that's been here permanently. So we put that on, and we put people outside here to help get us some more membership and get donations for the Brace Beamer statue, which we hope to build in Centennial Park.
Well, as far as in the museum, it evokes a lot of memories in people, and when they come in and they start looking at some of the stuff we have, they go, oh, I remember that, or Grandma had that, and then that leads on to a story. And it's just a lot of sharing of memories, which I love to do with people.
Dale Lopez, a huge contributor to the display, was filled with stories of his childhood hero, Brace Beamer and the Lone Ranger.
I've been collecting this since I was a little boy in the 40s, starting out by sending box tops out with a 10-cent or 15-cent Scotch tape to it to get one of these many premiums, like specialty rings, silver bullets, buttons, and other kinds of premiums as are on display here. So that started out in the 40s when I listened to Brace Beamer. I was probably about 7 years old when I first became interested in the Lone Ranger, and I never missed him at 7:30 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings. This man was an icon. Radio was in its infancy. He began as a wholesome individual, clean cut, never swore, used perfect English, never shot to kill. He was a hero to Americans, not just the children, but America was in the depths of the Great Depression, and they needed a hero. Hearing about gangsterism of the 30s and the early 40s, this was the guy that wore the white hat.
A special guest made an appearance at the museum. Bob Daniels, Brace Beamer's grandson, spent time talking to visitors about memories of his grandfather.
I was 14 when he passed away, so I remember him really well. You know, it's a funny thing that really, I didn't get that he was the Lone Ranger really until I was about 9 years old when he did an appearance at a boys' camp. The reaction people tended to have around him was one of, this man just entered the room if it was indoors, and he just filled up the room. He was 6'3½", weighed 200 pounds. He had that huge booming voice, and when he walked in the room, you knew he was there. And kids just immediately were mesmerized and attentive, and he could have asked them to rub their bellies and pat their heads 3 times, and they'd have done it that fast.
When I was growing up, my dad knew Brace, and he would take us out to the farm, and Brace always, when there was people around, he'd dress up like the Lone Ranger, and he'd hand out the silver bullets, and we always had carrots to feed Silver. But my biggest memory of Brace is he was a very commanding person, and when you're a little guy and you look at this 6'4" person with this booming voice, it's just, you're awestruck. He's a very friendly person and did a lot in the community.
Brace Beamer lived in Oxford on Drainer Road. Many visitors stopped by his old home, including Shirley Ann Maylock. She was a child voice actor for the radio show. Not only did she work with Brace Beamer, she also worked with his predecessor, who died in an auto accident. Looking back, she can remember Brace Beamer's first show as the Lone Ranger.
But I was on the program that Brace first did after Earl Grosser was killed in an auto accident, and it was very nerve-wracking for him and for the whole cast. That was quite a transition to go from one voice to the other. And radio, you define people by their voices. But, Brace, once he got going, you could see him reaching his stride, and he was fine. And what a wonderful voice. We all know that. So the whole cast was in one room, one studio. Sound effects might be off in a side room, depending on the studio. It might be in the studio with you. And so when you'd have kind of a mob scene of a posse or whatever, you'd have 5 or 6 men around the microphone, which I might add was suspended from the ceiling, so it was to grown-up height. And so they had this big green box that I stood on so that I could reach the microphone. So it's really back in the day technologically, obviously. So we did a broadcast at 7:30 for a half an hour for the Midwest, and then we stuck around and did a live broadcast at 10:30 for the West Coast. And for all of that work, I got $10. And finally the union came in, and then it went up to like $35. But it was a great working cast. It was very professional.
It just was a fun event for everybody. Nothing but smiles all the way around. What a great event for our joined communities together.
With the success of this year's Lone Ranger Days, many organizers hope to make it an annual event. At the very least, they hope to raise funds to erect a statue in Brace Beamer's honor right here in Centennial Park. In Oxford, I'm Catherine Havrilla, ONTV News.
Thanks, Catherine. With football season just around the corner, kids from the Orion area were treated to a very special summer camp hosted by the Detroit Lions. In its 10th year, the Lions Summer Youth Football Program is conducting 29 separate camps and academies around the state of Michigan and Ohio, marking their biggest year to date. On Monday, July 29th, the Lions Youth Football Camp rolled into Lake Orion High School. Instructors included coaches and professional educators from the collegiate and high school ranks, including former Michigan Wolverine and Detroit Lions offensive lineman Rich Strenger, who currently resides in Lake Orion. The camp was open to both boys and girls, ranging from age 6 to 14. The camp lasted 4 days and participants arrived each morning at 8:30 a.m. and practiced until noon.
This is our all-purpose fundamentals camp. So we spent 4 days here at Lake Orion High School, and we spent 2 days on the offensive side of the ball, 2 days on the defensive side of the ball, and we rotated the kids throughout all the position groups on both sides of the ball to hopefully get them to walk away with a better understanding of how the game is played. We incorporated some special teams work in there as well. We had a two-hand touch scrimmage at the end of each and every day. So the all-purpose camp allows the kids to get a taste of all those positions. And, because we as a camp staff, we don't necessarily know the makeup of their football team in the fall. And so we want to get them a taste of defensive line and linebacker position and all the different positions so they can, as they work their way through playing the game of football, they have at least a little taste of what the positions, how they work and how they work together.
Campers also learned about the benefits the game can yield off the field.
But it's the game, it's the life lessons the game of football teaches. The game of life is certainly much more important than the game of football, and the ability for them to learn what it's like to be committed, what it's like to work together as a team, what it's like to be able to communicate properly. All those things to me are much more important than the game of football. And if we can use football as a vehicle for them to learn that so they can apply it in school and at home and in whatever sports they play, that to me is where the benefit comes in.
The Lions Summer Youth Football Program is coming to a close for this season, but if you would like to stay informed regarding next year's camp, you can sign up for their mailing list by sending your name, mailing address, email address, and phone number to youthfootballcamps@detroitlions.com. Since 1998, ProCamp has offered camps for youth representing all the major sports leagues, getting big-name pro athletes involved. Recently, the organization hosted a baseball camp right here in Lake Orion, and the kids who attended got to meet one of the biggest names in baseball. On Thursday, August 1st, over 350 kids gathered on the grounds of Lake Orion High School for the Miguel Cabrera baseball camp. It was the first time Cabrera has attached his name to a camp like this, and he was present to interact with the kids and give them advice. After handing out a few souvenirs and posing for photos, Cabrera said his goodbyes before heading back to Comerica Park.
Hello? You want to have fun? Yeah! Me too. I want to say thank you very much for this. It's an honor, it's a pleasure be part of this. I feel bad because I got to go, bro. I got to do some treatments and I got to be ready to play tomorrow. So thank you very much. Thank you. See you soon.
Throughout the rest of the day, the kids broke into groups and practiced the basic fundamentals of the game, including throwing, catching, and hitting. Camp director Roger Roadhaver told us that watching Cabrera interacting with the kids was a very special moment.
Something special that really, not being from Detroit, but I've never seen kids out here so early, so energetic, for an opportunity to meet the pro. When I'm doing camp, sometimes kids are still waking up at 8:30, 9 a.m. in the morning, but they were all thrilled, all excited. You could feel the energy, the kids just waiting for him to show up and really hanging on every word that he said. You don't typically get 360 kids to be that quiet when someone's talking, but it was what was happening here today. It was really special.
We are going to take another quick break, but when we return, we'll have a special report from Joe Johnson on Canterbury Village's Elvis Fest. You are watching ONTV News. Stay tuned.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Welcome back to ONTV News. I'm Jessi Agnew. Friday, August 16th will mark the 36th anniversary of the passing of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Across the country, people will honor his legend with a wide variety of memorials and celebrations. Here in Lake Orion, fans recently remembered his music with a tribute festival held on the grounds of Canterbury Village. ONTV's Joe Johnson was there and brings us this story.
On Saturday, August 3rd, Elvis fans gathered on the grounds of Canterbury Village for Elvis Fest. 5 award-winning tribute artists, all from Michigan, represented Elvis from various periods throughout his career. Chris Solano of Ann Arbor performed hits from the mid-50s when Elvis was still recording at Sun Studio in Memphis. Chris told me he was singing along with Elvis songs since he was a kid and got his first paid gig as a tribute artist in 2001.
Well, you know, your ego gets into it for sure. And when people just love what you're doing, you just can't help but try to give them more. So it's really a communication going on there. And, you know, they love what you're doing, you're trying to do what they love. That's what goes through my mind. The other thing is really important is, am I bringing back the feelings from that wonderful 50s Elvis music that I got when I first listened to it and that I get when I listen to it all the time. So trying to just bring back the fun of Elvis music.
Dan and Melissa Valk had just gotten married at the chapel at Canterbury Village when they came over to enjoy Elvis Fest before the reception. Solano called the newlyweds up on stage and serenaded them with I Was the One, creating a lasting wedding day memory.
I was the one. Hey man, congratulations to you.
A wonderful coincidence, and definitely love the king.
So talk about being up there. That was a pretty special moment. Talk about how that happened.
I have no idea, but it was just wonderful. Serendipity. It was meant to be.
Yes, very much so.
Why don't you ever kiss me once, kiss me twice? Oh, dreamy night.
Irv Cass of Fenton has been performing as Elvis for 20 years, almost as long as Elvis's entire career. He told me his mother is responsible for introducing him to Elvis's music and began his professional career as a tribute artist after he won a contest in South Bend, Indiana. I asked him what it's like to channel Elvis in front of a live audience.
Well, you know, it tickles me, you know, because we're just a bunch of fakes, you know. We're just fake Elvises, man. But it tickles me. I don't really look at it from an arrogant point of view, because I know it's the whole thing is just fun. It's all for fun, bringing back memories of Elvis. And like I said, we're just doing a tribute to his music. So, but if the fans enjoy it, that's what it's all about.
Oh, there's a one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready. Now don't get going, but don't you snap my blue sweat cheek.
In 2004, Chris Ayotte of Canton was dared to enter a contest at the Michigan Elvis Fest in Ypsilanti and won. Today he dons a black leather outfit to perform songs from the Elvis TV special, now fondly remembered as the '68 Comeback Special.
Well, personally, I think it really is indicative of the transformation that was happening in Elvis's career and his life at the time. And what I loved about that special was the director in particular, Steve Bender, understood that we needed to get back to the roots of who Elvis Presley was. That was the era after the movies, as you know, and Elvis was growing tired of the scripts and, you know, everything they were making him do and singing the songs that they were making him sing. And so the Comeback Special really became an opportunity for Elvis to break out. And what I loved about the response and the coverage actually from the media from that special, one of the writers said, Elvis bled the music. And that is so true. Anybody who watches the '68 comeback in his striking black leather knows that that's Elvis Presley in the truest, most genuine, authentic form, and that just inspires me.
In the 80s, Greg Jikwa of Allen Park played guitar behind an Elvis tribute artist before deciding to don the sideburns himself. I asked him why he chose to embody the '70s era Elvis in all his sequin jumpsuit glory.
Oh, see right. See what you have done.
Well, first of all, a waistline wouldn't work out with the. Actually, when I was 40 pounds heavier than this, was when I started doing it, and so everybody knows that skinny little Elvis didn't start out in 1956 weighing 260 pounds. So, I kind of dispensed with that. Besides, Jumpsuit Era, he redid all those songs, so there are 70s versions of them, and I felt more comfortable in the jumpsuit, with my weight the way it was. I've been losing quite a bit, and so another 25, 30 pounds, we're going black leather, baby.
Yeah?
Yeah.
One last thing, when you're out on stage, is it as fun as it looks up there? What's getting the reaction from the crowd, specifically the women? What's it like up there on stage having fun?
Oh, it is murder. Oh my God! No, it's fantastic. It's just as great as you think it would be. I mean, you've got the greatest fans in the world. You're paying tribute to the greatest entertainer in the world, and hopefully you do a good job at it. And you feed off them, they feed off you, and it's just like a family reunion and a party at the same time. It's just fantastic.
The king may be gone, but his legend lives on through his music and the performers who continue to introduce Elvis to a new generation of fans. In Orion Township, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ONTV News.
I took the blows and did it Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. It seems like there's an expo or festival practically every weekend at Canterbury Village. You can find their calendar of events by visiting canterburyvillage.com. It's August, and once again it was time to get out to the polls and vote. Lake Orion Community Schools asked for a special election regarding two separate bond proposals. The first proposal was seeking $28.7 million over a 19.5-year bond term for projects deemed essential based on a careful evaluation of the district's needs. The second bond was seeking $4.5 million over the same bond term for additional projects considered enhancements. Both bonds were voted down on Tuesday. Proposal A received 58.54% no votes, and Proposal B was defeated with 58.7% of the district's voters voting no. For official election results, visit oriontownship.org and navigate to the clerk's page. A Lake Orion native is now a rising star in the world of television. Nicole Curtis, who now lives in Minneapolis, hosts the TV show The Rehab Addict. Her show focuses on restoring historic homes that are often falling apart and slated for demolition. One of her current projects brings Nicole back to Detroit. ONTV's Catherine Havrilla caught up with Nicole to find out more about The Rehab Addict.
I remember in 6th grade we had Mr. Drawing, and he was a shop class teacher. And we actually had wood shop those days, and you had to take it. And I remember taking it. My mom still has the napkin holder I made, and I posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago because she brought it to Minneapolis for me, and I got a B- on it. So the joke is that I didn't even get like an A in wood shop, and here I am doing this for a living now.
Nicole Curtis, the Rehab Addict, Lake Orion High School class of 1994. Now the host of her own television show, Nicole has been very busy since her days in Lake Orion. Her show, The Rehab Addict, airs on the HGTV and DIY networks. Saving and restoring historic homes is Nicole's passion. It's also the theme of her show. She's back in Detroit to save a home built in 1926, damaged by fire and up for demolition. Her days are filled with remodeling work, filming for her show and her family. So saying Nicole is busy is an understatement. However, she's always willing to discuss her devotion for saving old homes.
You know, it's very easy to go into any situation, throw everything out, and put something in new. It takes a lot more dedication and guts to actually put the pieces of the puzzle back together. I mean, with anything in life, if you have to fix something that's broke, it's going to take a lot more time to do. And for me, I love the challenge in it. I've always been somebody that I don't want anything that comes easy, and old houses definitely don't. And it definitely is something that takes a lot more time and energy to do, but when we get done, the end result, you can't replace it. I always tell people the secret to anyone's success is being passionate about what you do. And when you're passionate about what you do, everybody around you knows what you do. And for me, my passion has always been about real estate, about old homes, old cars. I always say old dogs, old people, everything about preserving our past, because our history is so important. And I really feel that it's just kind of fallen by the wayside. So it wasn't so much that I went after to get a TV show, because I didn't. They actually found me, and then together we built the show. You know, I was at the right place at the right time, and I was just doing what I always do and just talking about my passions and what I'm really excited about in life. Everyone keeps walking into this house in Detroit thinking like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is totally the easiest project I've ever done. The fact that it was ripped apart by fire, it's kind of a, you know, it's definitely not the best situation, but it's definitely not the worst. I mean, we've gone into houses that are literally falling down because the foundation has disappeared. This house has its challenges, but it's nothing we haven't seen before, and it's such a cool project. And the fact still remains that if I wasn't here doing it, they'd tear it down. So we have to do it.
Reporting from Detroit, I'm Catherine Hevrilla, ONTV News.
Although the Detroit episodes of the Rehab Addict won't air until next year, you can catch other episodes of Nicole's show on the HGTV and DIY networks. Nicole also encourages anyone interested to stop by and see the house in Detroit while it's being rehabbed. That's it for this edition of ONTV News. On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Jessi Agnew. Thank you for watching.